Well, this Sunday, December 1st, is World AIDS Day. The day is dedicated to raising awareness of the AIDS pandemic and remembering those who've died from the disease. Joining us now is Jennifer Lotito, President and Chief Operating Officer of RED. Jen, welcome. Good to see you.
Great to see you. Thank you so much for having me.
It's good to have you. Now, World AIDS Day is so important in teaching people about this illness. What are you hoping people understand when it comes to HIV and AIDS that maybe they don't know already?
Yeah, I mean, what the world needs to understand is that this continues to be a crisis. I think people think that the world has moved on and that this is no longer a crisis. This is a disease that is preventable. It is also treatable. And so it's really important to understand that not only is this still a crisis, but there is something that you can do about it, thanks to organizations like RED.
And you bring up such a good point, because especially in the 80s, I remember growing up, this was on the forefront of everyone's mind. It was such a huge issue, from everything from these charitable organizations to Elton John. I mean, there's so much talk about it. And as you said, now maybe it's not on the forefront, but what is the status of the fight? As you mentioned, it's now treatable, and there are cocktails out there for those who are suffering from it to help them proceed.
Absolutely. The reality is that there is still somebody dying every minute of AIDS-related illnesses. There are still 600 young girls that are getting the disease or getting newly infected every single day. This is a real injustice. We know how to prevent it and we know how to treat it. And when you're on treatment, it means you can't pass the virus on. So, there are still this is a disease and a pandemic where we have made incredible progress, but we risk complacency. We've got to stay at it. We know how to end it, and we just need to get there, which is really important, because not only do we need the money to get there, we need the heat. We need people talking about it. We need these types of conversations. So I'm so grateful to be here this morning.
It's almost as though you have to teach these younger generations about this disease, because it has been around so long. And as you said, the level of awareness kind of varies moment to moment. Let's talk about some of the most common misconceptions about HIV and AIDS that people should unlearn. I remember, obviously, when we were younger, when you first heard about this, it was like you couldn't be near somewhere, let alone even talk to someone with HIV or AIDS for fear of getting it. And that's obviously not the case.
Well, it's not the case, but stigma remains a very, very big issue everywhere around the world. It has been several decades, but unfortunately, that is probably something that we need to continue to unlearn. That there are, there's just so much misconception. There's so much stigma associated with this. I mean, again, this is a preventable and treatable disease. So, you get on treatment and there's very little risk that you can pass this along. If you're a pregnant woman, you will not pass it. I mean, there's over a 99% chance you won't pass it on to your baby if you're on treatment, or you won't pass it on to your partner. So I think this is a really important thing to understand. We have got to break that stigma. But we also, as I was saying before, we cannot be complacent. We have seen such great progress. We've got to keep our feet on the gas and make sure we end this one.
Can you talk about RED's holiday campaign this year and how people can join in and support the fight against this disease?
Absolutely. So RED is, for everybody who knows RED and where RED all began, we've always been about making it easy for people to participate in this fight by buying products. That continues to be what we do. And so if you want to splurge this holiday season, there's a RED Fiat, there's a RED Vespa. You can go and use Apple Pay, and that will unlock a donation. There's a number of new products that we have. I actually am fortunate enough to have a new granddaughter. We have a new womb bikes that are just the coolest thing here in New York City. You see them all over the streets. So I hope she's actually not watching, because that's what's going to be coming under the Christmas tree for her this year. But there's many other products as well, and you can go to red.org to check them all out. While
you've been talking, we've been showing a steady stream of all those products. It looks great. Lovely jacket, lovely lipstick. It all works very properly. Jen, thank you very much for all that you do and continue to do, and we appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, Chris, for having me.
You got it. And show your support on World AIDS Day next Sunday. You can wear a red ribbon, get tested, and spread the word to help break the stigma.